Hey guys, so before we start, I'm gonna go with a quick disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor, and nothing shared here is financial, investment, tax, or legal advice. I combine technical chart analysis with fundamental analysis to form my market views. My analysis is based on price action, market structure, historical patterns, and key fundamental factors. I don't follow hype or narratives. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. So now that that is out of our way, I'm gonna start. And in this video, I'm gonna do a follow-up on different tickers that I have covered in different videos. So I'm gonna go through Bitcoin, IREN, SMR, LPTH, SNDK, and much more. So let's go and check the IREN chart. So as you guys know, on the past videos and on different tweets, I have been comparing the current price action we're seeing on IREN to this current period back in 2024 2025, because as you guys see here, we had one high, we have another high here, even we had one high, another high, and the same thing happened here. And here we got our second high, now we got our third high, and the third high here. So basically I'm seeing, if we get the 50 and the 200 SMAs, we had the 50 went below the 200, so we had the death cross here, and after that we had almost a 50% pullback to the downside. So I'm seeing the same thing potentially happening here, right? Because we almost had the cross here on the SMAs, but we never fully had it. So right now what I'm seeing is I'm anticipating that cross happening eventually. See, so we're eventually gonna get the dark cross, and as I have been saying, this is a key resistance zone. So for me to change my views, I mean, price should at least start reclaiming this and moving higher, but my base case expectation is we start rejecting from here like we did here on this short bounce. We rejected, and eventually we should test this level again, and this would be my final target to start accumulating IREN. So now that IREN's out of the way, or no, before ending this, I'm gonna show you guys on the 2-month time frame. So this is a super bearish candle, so this candle is gonna put a lot of pressure, and that's another factor of why I think this is gonna go down. So if we do a follow-up on SMR and you go to my previous videos, I was saying that even though this was a support, I wouldn't buy here because I saw like higher probability of this not holding. You can go back to my previous videos when price was around here. I said not to buy here because I'm waiting for the macro demand zone, which would be in this area. So this would be my buying zone on SMR for a quick bounce, the same way I explained in the detailed video that I'm looking for quick short-term 50%, 40% bounces like the ones we had here and here. So once price gets to this zone, basically I'm gonna start accumulating and wait for a bounce, because this bounce could give you like a 40% return in 1-2 weeks. So this is something I'm watching on SMR for a quick swing trade. If we go to LPTH, this one I covered recently, I was saying that we're on an ascending channel. Ascending channels tend to break to a downside eventually, and I was saying that we have massive overhead resistance here, which I went in detailed in the other video, and you should watch it so you get the full details. But from what I'm seeing, there's a possibility if this current support doesn't hold, price maybe doesn't even have the chance to get to this zone, and we just go down and target this demand zone. But if price actually gets here, I'll start a massive big short position, because right now I cannot fully size in on a short because price could just squeeze me to the upside. So this is not a time for me to go aggressive. I could start a small started position in case I don't want to miss this potential move to a downside. So in terms of Bitcoin, I want to show you why I think the bottom is not in. So let's go to this chart. So this is the USDT dominance plus the USDC dominance, and basically we can see here that the 2021 highs hasn't been retested, which is something I expect price to eventually test this area the same way we did when the USDT dominance actually tested that area. Because see, in this stablecoin chart, price already hit the 2021 highs. So I'm expecting the combination of these two charts. I see this is lagging. So see, right now basically we had a rejection from this key area, because see how price reacts always to this key area. So this was super obvious for me. Now we broke, we're consolidating here, and we're kind of bouncing from this. So eventually with time, the next coming 1 to 3 months, we should start heading to this all-time high and test this. And this if is inversely correlated to Bitcoin. So if price move up on the stables, it means more downside pressure for the Bitcoin chart. So right now, like I have been tweeting as well, this is a big massive wall that we have. Why? Because see how price reacts. In this case, we rejected. Here we broke out, rejected. So there's a massive reaction to price every time price gets to that area. So if we have the first level, we need to this is our first resistance. See, once we broke down, price had a reaction here, we had a small reaction here every time we reacted here. So the first level to break is this one, but then we have this massive wall, and at the same time, even if we get there, this is the high, this is a lower high, and even if we do this, it will create a lower high structure as well. So this wouldn't mean we started a bull. No, this just means potentially more buyers are gonna get trapped, so we can have a next impulse to a downside. So I'm seeing some similarities now, because here back in the 2021 cycle, so let's take a clean chart so you guys can see. Okay, so here basically we had the death cross here, but when we got the death cross, the 50 SMA going below the 200, the downside price action already happened, see? So we already have that price action. So this is a lagging indicator. So basically we have something similar setting up here. So eventually with time, because this is heading down, right? We could see this potentially happening again. So this is just something to be aware of. So we had the death cross here. We could have the death cross here sometime around November of this year. So we take a measured move. So from here, basically, we went down 50% below the current key demand zone that I have been talking about in different videos. I was talking about the 3 touch test. So before breaking this, price had to test 3 times. So basically the first time we started weakening that demand zone was here. This was the second test, and this was the final test that we broke this big demand zone we had, and the same thing is happening now. So this is the big demand zone we had back in 2024, the consolidation range I was talking in the other video about Bitcoin, and this is the first touch, this is the second touch, and if we get a bounce to the upside, then the third touch would finally break all of this structure the same way I showed back in 2021. So if we get the same thing happening, that's why I wouldn't be surprised from a measured move from this specific key level. We could go easily 30-40% down, which would put us at the 40Ks, high 30Ks or something like that. So, and this would coincide with the death growth on the SMAs. Another thing that I'm seeing besides that is if we go and take a look at the RSI, last time around in the 2021 cycle, the bullish divergence, see, lower lows and higher lows on the RSI, this marked the bottom. So this marked the bottom of the cycle, this bullish divergence on the weekly chart. Right now we're having the same thing. So we're having a bullish divergence, see, but this time around I think it will be different. Like I think this time around, yeah, we could have a short-term price action, bullish price actions like we have been seeing because of this bullish divergence, but eventually it's gonna like head to the downside and be totally different than this one. So this not this is not my best case this time around because of the explanation in different videos that I make from Bitcoin, and I expect this to be the first time we get 2 back-to-back red yearly candles in a row. Okay, so yesterday I did a video about SNDK and why it was a really good opportunity to start accumulating SNDK, because if we go to a daily time frame and we take a look at the 50 SMA, so every time price touched the 50 SMA, we bounced out of it, and in these occasions we got a 30% pullback into the SMA, and this marked the local low. We got a 27% pullback, we got a 28% pullback into SMA, and we bounced. So in yesterday's video I was saying, guys, we're having the same thing here. So we're having 35% pullback, we touched the SMA, went below the SMA, and we were having a key Fibonacci, which is the 786-886 zone. So from low to high, see, 786-886 zone, that coincided with the price going below the SMA, which, as history has shown, this was the best opportunity to start buying. So we're having a small bounce off of that, and I was saying that even if this is the top, we should create a lower high structure before potentially rolling over. Now let's cover some altcoins. So a lot of people like Aster. But I see a strong and a lot of rejections from this zone. So if we take a look, see, we rejected from this massive selling wall. That we also have a price reaction from here. The same thing here. You see, this is the next level. Rejection. So price can't hold above all of this level. Now this was a demand zone, so we should have bounced from here, but we broke down, and now this becomes, actually I'm gonna change it, this becomes another resistance zone. So I really think this area is gonna be tested. So the 55, because see, right now if you see price, we bounce from here, we're testing this demand, we're testing. So this is getting weaker by the minute. So the next level would be this one. So that would imply a 9% drop. But if that fails, basically, I think this level will be tested eventually. So that would imply even 20% drop to this zone. And if that doesn't hold, we can talk about lower prices. But I wouldn't buy this. Coin yet. I mean, right now we're in the middle. We could go up 26%, or we could go down 20%. So the risk to reward there is not there, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go over Kaspa, but this one's an altcoin I'm really interested in, but I'm gonna do a full deep dive video on this one. But before I show any altcoins, I want to show a specific chart I'm watching that historically tells you when is a really good time to buy altcoins. So if you take the total 3, which is the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, and you take away the USDT, the stable coins, and you divide it by Bitcoin, it shows you historically which is the demand zone that gives you the best risk to reward in altcoins. So this, as price shows, every time price got here, besides this deviation, basically, which this was the massive 2021 altcoin season. See, we have never had, and this was the 2017, this was the 2021, but we still haven't had the next one. We have had like short-term, this is a short-term one, this is a short-term one, but I'm still expecting eventually, I'm seeing this inverse head and shoulder, so we could potentially get a little bit of a bullish price action. But I want price in this specific chart to get here. Once it gets here and I see altcoins like, in this case, Kaspa, if the other chart that I was showing goes down to a key support, and the price and the valuation of Kaspa, which right now it's around $850 million, I want this valuation to go down to around 400, 500 million dollars, which would be here. So if we get this drop, that drop, as we can see in the chart, this is a massive demand zone after basically a 92% drop. See, 92, 93% drop. Why am I excited for that? Because if we take a look at the Solana price action last cycle around, when everybody thought Solana was dead, so from the 2021 highs, we got a 93% pullback, and then we had an accumulation zone that lasted for 500 days. Then we had basically what you guys know, we had a 14x from the lows. So I'm expecting a similar price action and similar thing happening with Caspa, because I remember a lot of respectful people in Twitter were buying Caspa at these levels, and at this time Caspa hadn't had its recent hard fork that is improving the network and allowing for developers to develop a lot of DeFi applications. So if we get that price action, and price gets here, I want to give it a little bit time, and then I start accumulating, because I'm anticipating the same thing that happened with Solana. So when altcoins get the last flush that I'm waiting, a lot of altcoins like Caspa that their networks are improving are gonna get into a much cheaper valuation and a much attractive price. The same thing goes for coins like Sui. They are poised to potentially follow a similar run like Solana back in the day, and that's why positioning is really important, because if you buy, let's say, $100,000 right now, and price just decides it wants to test this area, basically you're losing $40,000. So that's why it's really important to understand percentages. Not because something went down from its high to its current price, which is 86%, that doesn't mean something cannot go from current price down 40% more. So you need to understand percentages. The same thing happened with Bitcoin, and I have talked a lot about this. So this time around in the 2021 cycle, we got a 50% drop, and that's what people need to understand, that after a 50% drop, you can have another 50% drop before marking the potential bottom. So same thing right now, like we had a 50% drop, 52% drop, and that doesn't mean we cannot have another 30% drop or even more, who knows, right? So this is not out of the question. Yeah, just before I end the video, I think this will become, I think this play is gonna come soon, so I'm gonna keep watching really closely. I'm actually gonna put alerts so I can alert myself, of course, and you guys. So once price hits this, I'll get an alert in my email, and I'll start accumulating Caspa for a quick swing trade. If you like the video, please share, comment, follow me on X, and subscribe to my channel.